What's going on, guys? Welcome in. I am Kadarius Washington, and you are watching the Women's Basketball Rundown. It's a pleasure to have you in. We're going to keep it real short and sweet for you today. So the unrivaled season has come to an end, and a champion has been crowned, and we're going to tell you how we got there. So starting with the semifinals on Sunday, the Rose took down the Laces by a score of 63-57, and taking a closer look at the Rose here, Chelsea Gray went absolutely nuts in the game. Far and away her best game of the season, and she has had some really good games here. 39 points, shooting 65% from the field, as well as hitting the game-winning shot for them. And Azurá Stevens for the Rose had a pretty good game too. She was 2 points shy of a double-double. And Naz Hillman, now listen, she was a relief player that was added, I want to say, a week ago. And me personally, I've been guilty of looking at the stat sheets and the box scores when it comes to games, but there are certain players that will make a stat sheet or a box score lie to you, and Naz Hillman did just that, doing so much of the little things to help her team be successful, being physical, and, of course, setting screens and setting up shots. That was a good job there by Hillman. And looking at the Laces, this is a game I really feel like they could have won. I mean, Alyssa Thomas had 20 points, and that was another key factor with Hillman too, also keeping Alyssa Thomas in check a little bit, so that's a good job there. And Tiffany Hayes turning back the clock with her gameplay. She had 16 points in the game. Now, Kayla McBride, the star of the Laces, she struggled a bit in this game. She had 12 points and shot 23% from the field. And Rose was the first team to advance to the Unrivaled Championship. And then in the second game, my goodness, the upset of the Unrivaled season. I really don't think hardly anybody had this on their bingo card except for the Vinyl players, as they pulled the upset of the season, defeating Lunar Owls 73-70. And taking a closer look at the Lunar Owls, Napheesa Collier, she had a masterpiece of a game. She had 36 points and 8 rebounds, shooting 67% from the field. But outside of that, that was pretty much it for the Lunar Owls. A very poor shooting day for the team. Alicia Gray had 11 points, shot 4 for 10 from the field. Skylar Diggins-Smith didn't play well. She had only 10 points, shooting 4 for 11. And Shakira Austin did virtually nothing after I was giving her flowers on last week, if not a couple of weeks ago, talking about her development and her coming along, which she developed, but she pretty much went ghost in this game, and the Lunar Owls did not play well, and the Vinyl took advantage of that. Jordan Canada had one of her more proficient games of the year, 21 points, shooting 8 for 13 from the field. Ryan Howard had 23 points in that one, and De'Erica Hamby with the game-winning layup to pull once again the upset of the season. My goodness, 13-1, and us thinking that the Lunar Owls were going to be walking out of Miami with the championship. The only thing that they've carried out of Miami is a whole bunch of luggage, because the Vinyl advanced to the Unrivaled Championship, taking on the Rose. And a closer look at this Unrivaled Championship game here. For the Vinyl, Ryan Howard had a pretty good game here. She had 22 points. And Jordan Canada, after her big game in the semifinal, she only had 10 points, shooting 3 for 12 from the field. Aaliyah Boston had a pretty good game in this one. She had 10 points, shooting 4 for 6. But the thing about it, De'Erica Hamby went ghost in this game, and Ray Burrell did virtually nothing whatsoever. And the Rose, this was Chelsea Gray, this was another scenario where the stat sheet might lie to you. She hit some big shots in big moments late in this game, and when she hit that half-court three at the buzzer at the end of the third quarter, that was pretty much when you knew that the Rose pretty much had this championship in the bag, and that was the case here. Brittany Sykes was one of the best players on the court for the Rose. She had 21 points, and Azurá Stevens had a double-double in this one, 19 points, 18 rebounds. And Naz Hillman, once again, doing the little things that don't show up in the stat sheet, being physical and setting her team up for success. And the Rose ultimately won this game on a Brittany Sykes free throw. I mean, ending the season on a free throw, I mean, that's a little rough. But anyway, they won the game 62-54. Chelsea Gray, no surprise, named championship MVP. And this is a crazy story here because the Rose were ranked last in ESPN's Unrivaled preseason rankings, if you remember it. And this Rose team was dead to start the year. Dead. They were 1-4, and somehow, some way, Chelsea Gray got hot. Angel Reese, she did a pretty good job getting hot, and those two key pieces led to the Rose success, winning 9 out of their last 11 games, and the Rose are your 2025 Unrivaled champions, and that is your first Unrivaled season. All right, so the Unrivaled awards and the teams were announced. On the first team, the Unrivaled first team, we have Napheesa Collier, Chelsea Gray, and Kayla McBride. And on the second team, we had Skylar Diggins-Smith, Angel Reese, and Ryan Howard. Now, listen, folks. I don't have a problem with either of these teams. I mean, if anything, if you saw the first team with Napheesa, Chelsea, and McBride, I thought they were going to go 1, 2, 3 respectively as far as the MVP voting is concerned. And the second team, they got it right there. Now, listen, I know people were making cases for Alicia Gray making one of these, probably the second team, but you can't put 3 Lunar Owls on 2 teams. That's not fair there. But I will say this. If I were to create a third Unrivaled team, I would probably have Alicia Gray, Rakia Jackson, who was one of the more consistent players in Unrivaled, and Azurá Stevens. But that's just me as far as a third team is concerned. Now, going back to the actual awards, Napheesa Collier, no surprise, was named Unrivaled MVP. Angel Reese was named Defensive Player of the Year. Now, honestly, I thought it was going to be Napheesa Collier, but of course, reading Angel Reese's resume as far as the Unrivaled season is concerned, I can definitely understand why they gave her the Defensive Player of the Year. She's done an incredible job all season in the league, so that's a good thing there as far as Angel Reese is concerned. And a little bit of and I don't think it's fair to call it controversy that DJ Sackman won Coach of the Year. A lot of people believe, myself included, that it should have been Nola Henry. For what I said just a while ago, this Rose team was dead in the water with a 1-4 record and willed her team to the playoffs. But nevertheless, 13-1 is 13-1, sustained success throughout the Unrivaled season. So nevertheless, DJ Sackman is your Coach of the Year there. All right, we cannot conclude this season of Unrivaled without a top 10 list. I got my top 10 list here, so here we go. Now, usually in the last few weeks anyway, I did a top 5 list of Unrivaled players, but for this magnitude of this list, a top 5 list would not do it justice, so here we go. My top 10 players I'm excited to watch this season from Unrivaled in the WNBA. Now, a little note here. This list does not include second-year players. I will make another top 5 list for second-year players that I'm excited to watch at a later time. But nevertheless, my top 10 players I'm excited to watch from Unrivaled in the W this season. At number 10, I have Stephanie Dolson. Number 9, I have Azurá Stevens. Number 8, I have Shakira Austin. Number 7, I have Tiffany Hayes. At number 6, I've got Jordan Canada. At number 5, I've got Alicia Gray. At number 4, you know what? Why don't I just put the entire Atlanta Dream team on here. I got Ryan Howard at number 4. I've got Nafisa Collier at number 3. I've got Skylar Diggins-Smith at number 2. And my number 1 player that I'm excited to watch from Unrivaled in the W this season, the sensational Chelsea Gray. Now listen, folks. This season in the W, if Chelsea Gray, and I'm going to throw Jackie Young in this thing too because she played exceptionally well before her injury. But for the most part, if we get the Chelsea Gray that we saw in the W, and most importantly, if her and Jackie Young stay healthy, the rest of the league is going to be in some big trouble. Now, listen, I don't make my WNBA preseason predictions until the day before the regular season, but if we get the Chelsea Gray that we saw in Unrivaled, boy, oh boy, oh boy, the Las Vegas Aces are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Now also we had the NCAA tournament bracket revealed on Sunday along with the Unrivaled postseason. But right in the middle of that, a huge trade went down in the WNBA as Natasha Cloud was traded from the Connecticut Sun to the New York Liberty for the 7th overall pick in this year's draft and a first-round selection for next year. And this really, if you think about it, is one of the more short-term, long-term trades as far as benefits are concerned, because this is a trade that definitely benefited the Liberty in the short term, of course, with losing Courtney Vandersloot to the Chicago Sky in free agency. I kind of do like this trade on both sides. And of course, it definitely works out too for the Sun as they are in an absolute full-blown rebuild after getting rid of everybody. And a little thing that I noticed about this trade too, as far as the draft pick is concerned, do you know that the Dallas Wings, Washington Mystics, and Connecticut Sun have 7 of the 12 first-round picks in this year's draft? The Wings have the 1st and the 8th pick. The Washington Mystics have the 3rd, 4th, and 6th pick, and the Connecticut Sun have the 7th and the 12th pick at this moment. Now, there is no 13th pick in this draft because if you remember, the Las Vegas Aces actually lost their first-round pick for this year because of the De'Erica Hamby situation from 2 years ago where they violated league rules with impermissible benefits and workplace policies there. So that was a big trade there, and I hope everybody is happy now because I've been seeing a lot of dialogue ever since, I believe, the Alyssa Thomas trade when Natasha Cloud went to Connecticut in the first place. People calling her to be with the Liberty and everything, so I hope everybody is happy there as far as that situation is concerned. Well, friends, that will do it for the women's basketball rundown. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, tell me what some of your favorite moments of the Unrivaled season were. Leave that down in the comment section there for me. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Blue Sky at CW Talk Sports. That's CWTALKS Sports. And I will see y'all the next time. Peace.